Positive number is divided into two parts such that the sum of the squares of the two parts is 20. The square of the larger part is 8 times the smaller part. Taking x as the smaller part of the two parts, find the number. Right? Question asked in the ICSE 2010 examination. Right? So here they've directly told us what to consider as the variable x, what value to take as a variable x. They've told us that a positive number is divided into two parts, and we have to consider the smaller of the two parts to be x. Right? So just for the sake of simplicity, to start off with this question, let's consider the larger part to be y. Yeah, they've given us the smaller part to be x, and let the larger part of the number be y. Yeah, we are doing that just for maintaining some simplicity. Let's take another color for this, right? Yeah. You could honestly solve this by just considering one variable as x and adjusting it to, but I like to take the other variable as y for now, and then find a relation between x and y, and then make a substitution. Right now, the first sentence tells us that it's a positive number and it's divided into two parts. So if the smaller part is x and the larger part is y, I could say therefore the required number will be equal to x plus y, right? Because the smaller part is x and the larger part is y. You add the two parts and you get the required number. Now, the first sentence tells us that the squares of the two parts, the sum of the squares, right, of the two parts is 20. Okay, the sum of the squares. So if I know x and y are the two parts, so the sum of their squares would mean, that's right, so therefore we know is given to us the sum of the squares of the two parts is equal to 20. The sum of the squares means one number is x, so the square of that is x squared, the other number is y, so the square of that will be y squared, and the sum of their squares will be x squared plus y squared, which is equal to 20. So this for now will be our first equation. And they've given us another condition here. The square of the larger part is 8 times the smaller part, right? Square of the larger part, they've given us another condition, which is square of the larger part, right, is 8 times, can be considered as an equal to sign, is 8 times, so that is 8 into the smaller part, right? So 8 times the smaller part, right? We're using the second sentence here. The square of the larger part is 8 times the smaller part, right? Now if I think about that in terms of variables, the square of the larger part is y, so the square of that will be y square, is 8 times. 8 times means 8 multiplied by, so it will be 8 multiplied by the smaller part, which is x. So this here could be thought of my second equation. And so the first equation is x squared plus y squared is equal to 20. Second equation is y squared is equal to 8x. And now remember, you want to get your equation with one single variable. So what we'll do is we'll substitute this value of y squared in part 1. So substituting the second equation that we get, the value of y squared in 1, right? So therefore, what do I get? My equation now becomes x squared. Instead of y squared, I'll write 8x. So x squared plus 8x is equal to 20, right? So substituting 2 in 1, this is what we get. We get x squared plus 8x is equal to 20. And now if you guys can see, it's just a equation with one single variable x and the highest power of it 2. So it's already a quadratic. Let's write that down in our standard form. So we have first term x squared, second x term, so plus 8x plus 8x. Let's bring the 20 from the left to the right. right to the left, sorry, minus 20 is equal to 0. So we have our quadratic equation in the standard form, which we will solve by splitting the middle term. So the product required here will be 1 into minus 20. So the product 1 into minus 20 is minus 20. So you want to split minus 20, or sorry, you want to find two numbers which when multiplied give you minus 20, and their sum should be equal to plus 8, the middle term, right? So two numbers multiplied to give me minus 20 and added to give me plus 8 will be 10 into minus 2. So 10 into minus 2, minus 20. 10 plus minus 2 is plus 8, right? So therefore, that's the way I'm going to split the middle term. X square, instead of 8x, I'll write plus 10x minus 2x. Split the middle term. Minus 20 is equal to 0. Okay, we split the middle term. Now it's time to factor the terms. So therefore, if you factor the first two, we can take an x common. We'll be left with, so we'll take the x common. We will be left with x plus 10 in the bracket. You consider the third and fourth term. You can see there's a minus 2 which is common, and you'll be left with an x plus 10 again in the bracket. This is equal to 0. Now you see there's an x plus 10, two brackets of that, so x plus 10, let's take that common, and I'll be left with x minus 2. And all of this is equal to 0. So the zero product rule now, when two terms multiplied equal to 0, it's either the first term, so x plus 10, which is equal to 0, or it's the second term, which is x minus 2, sorry, equal to 0. Let's solve these two equations to get our values for x. So you solve the first one, therefore take the plus 10 to the other side, becomes minus. So therefore I can say x is equal to minus 10, or take the minus 2 to the other side, becomes positive, or I can say x is equal to 2. Alright, so we've got two values. Now let's see the question once again to see if both of them are valid. The question tells us it's a positive number which is divided into two parts, right? So if the positive number is divided into two parts, it will be divided into two positive parts, and therefore we'll have to reject x is equal to minus 10. Right? Now since x is a part of a positive number, x is equal to minus 10 is rejected. We can't use the value of x. So therefore that means that x, the required value of x, is equal to 2. But that doesn't end our answer. That doesn't give us our final answer, because we just have the value of x. We want the final. The question has asked us to find the desired number, of which x is just a small part. To find the number, we need to also find the value of y. Okay, so now how do you find the value of y? You can either use the first equation or the second equation. Let's use the second. We know y square is equal to 8x, right? So x is equal to 2, and we know now y square is equal to 8x, so that will be equal to 8 into 2, which is 16. Now if y square is equal to 16, it would mean y is equal to plus or minus 4. But once again, minus 4 will be rejected because they are it's a part of a positive number, right? So we will reject minus 4. And minus 4 is rejected, which would imply y is equal to 4. Now x is equal to y is equal to 4, so therefore remember we want to find the value of x plus y, so therefore I can say x plus y is equal to 2 plus 4, which is equal to 6, and that is what we want to find, the required number for us, the desired number for which two parts, one is 2 and the other one is 4, right? So therefore the required number which is x plus y, my final answer is 6. Final answer which we will put in a rectangle.